Danny Page, Tuscany Ridge. Boltice, actually, Bill Lawson is the president of the church. He's not the pastor. He's also has a vested interest in the church. He and his wife, Charlene. The church took out a second mortgage on their property for over $1 million, you can see here. He and his wife, along with 7 other couples, there's their name right there, gave the church this second mortgage. Of course, they partially released some of the parcel to you guys because you bought some of that parcel over there for your fire station. So I'm glad everybody's in bed with each other. Speaking of being in bed with each other, 3 of you up here, the incumbents, Murray, Pines, and Gonzalez, got a payout from Mr. Lawson, Bill Lawson, the president of the church, who has a vested interest in the property. Start with Pines. September 6th, William Lawson, there he is. Just showed you his name previously on the mortgage there. $1,000 for your campaign. Congratulations, you lost. So I wonder if Mr. William Lawson is out there and if he's a little upset with his $1,000 that he gave her for a yes vote tonight. Let's see who else we got here. Gonzalez, Michael Gonzalez. There you are, dude. September 4th, 2024, his wife, Charlene Lawson, you saw both their names there on the mortgagees there. They have a vested interest in this property. She gave you $1,000 there. Michael, for your campaign, you lost. So she lost her $1,000, but maybe not because she still bought your vote. Murray. Can't forget Murray. Up that there, September 19th, Murray, you received $1,000 from Bill and Charlene Lawson for your campaign. Unfortunately, you did win, so I guess they picked right with the $1,000 they gave you for your yes vote tonight. Pretty gross. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't live over there, fortunately for me, but it is unfortunate for the folks that do. So the incumbents, 2 that lost, 1 that's unfortunately still here. I guess for the 2 of you that lost, what's your legacy going to be? You going to be bought with this vote by the Lawsons, paid each $1,000 a pop? You that has to sit up here for another 2 years, unfortunately, also got $1,000. What's your vote going to be tonight? Hopefully for the Lawsons, you're all 3 of you are going to vote yes. I mean, after all, they did pay you collectively $3,000 for your vote tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, please. Yes, sir. What say council? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I have been afforded the privilege to sit in this seat for a year now. And all of the emails I have received, this is the topic I have received the most on. And I said that I would be a voice for the citizens. And I am a believer in putting yourself in other people's shoes to see how it would feel, how would it affect you. And my feeling is that buying a home is the largest purchase most of us will ever make in our entire lives. And the emails, the countless emails I have received from my fellow constituents have said that their concern is the property value and the traffic and the noise. And then to hear all of the residents reiterate that and to see this is standing room only and other people are in the hallway, that this is very, very near and dear to the hearts of the people. Because again, this is the largest purchase most of us will ever make in our lives is buying a home. And when you bought the home, it's because you liked the area, because it was low density, because it did not have all of the hustle and bustle. And I don't live far from you all. And the traffic is horrendous. It is. I agree with you. So my feeling is that I hope my fellow colleagues up here will put themselves in your shoes of how would they like having this done to them in their neighborhoods. I'm with the people. You all say no, I say no.
Please. Anyone else?
I've actually got a couple questions for Mr. Lawson. Can you review with me the actual numbers? And I'm going to ask for some ratios as well. So what are the actual independent living units? Was that correct on the slide, or was it not correct?
It was correct on the slide.
Okay, so we have 132, 56 memory care, and you're going to have 77 staff members.
Correct.
How many of these parking spaces are for the independent living units?
All of them, because memory care residents do not drive.
They can't be all of them because you have staff.
Right. Well, it's between staff and the independent living.
So how many are you setting aside for independent living? There has to be a ratio on this.
We set aside one per apartment,
Okay.
even though we
So
know.
you have one per apartment.
But even
When
though
I-
we know that a lot of those people don't drive.
When I counted this, you have 124 parking spaces.
Okay. I'm not sure of the exact count.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how we get there. If you have 124 parking spaces and you have 132 independent living, you already have more independent living than you have parking spaces.
But independent living includes also assisted living as well. They're combined.
What is your ratio for staffing in your memory care unit?
You have there in the memory care, there'll be 3 staff per resident.
3 per resident.
Yes, sir.
On staff at any one time.
That's correct.
That does not
let me back
equate.
up. Let me back up. We talk about memory care. We talk about neighborhoods that we have. We create these neighborhoods, and we end up having. It's three staffs, but that's over a 24-hour period of time. At any single time, we have 7 staff per neighborhood, and there's 2 neighborhoods, so there's 14 staff that are going to be on duty at all time for memory care residents.
Your numbers don't add up. Okay, we're good. I was in the medical world for a long time, and your numbers aren't adding up. It's ratios, and when you start saying that you're going to do this, that, and the other, and they're not, your numbers aren't working. So I'm not going to push you on it. You know, at the end, this is a political charade that they're jamming in last minute. I'm not going to support this. The fact of the matter is, this does not belong in that location. I'm not going to rezone it to a higher density because, as everybody else has said, you keep hearing traffic. Well, there was a lot of folks who came in and said, hey, I'm concerned about what it's going to turn into. And once you have those entitlements, we are not going to be able to take those entitlements back. So if you fail as that, you're going to come back to this council, and this council is going to be concerned that we have a failing business, a blight, and we're going to give you whatever else you ask for so that we can stop that blight. And I think it's a very poor idea to even introduce this and to do it. Our P&Z has said no, the residents have said no, and I'm going to stick with our residents and with our P&Z who said no. Thank you.
Please. Anyone else?
We'll give you $2 grand if you say no.
Anyone else? Any other comments?
Okay, on that note, the State of Florida Commission on Ethics stated, a voting conflict does not exist when a public officer votes on matters concerning campaign contributors. They look at that as separate. Campaign is separate from sitting on seat as council. There might be some people that look at this as a payout or a buyout, but there are actually people that do not look at it that way. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Please.
That is based on the Florida State Commission on Ethics. It's a moot point.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, I think the best thing we can do is just, go ahead and put this to a vote. I'm voting for it because it diminishes traffic, the tax revenue, and the need for assisted living. So I'm going to make a motion for item 19, ordinance number 2024.
They can't
Mike.
hear you, Mike.
Speak into your microphone, please.
I'm sorry. I'm going to make the motion because we're not going to be able to please everybody here to approve item 19, ordinance number 2024-18, Final Baptist Church SSCPA.
Do I have a second?
I would like to add something to that. In the ordinance, it states a maximum of 55 feet. I would like that changed to what they're reflecting on their plan.
All right, that would be on the next item. Remember, there's two items here.
Okay.
There's the
Okay, I second the motion.
Okay. I have a motion and a second for approval of ordinance number 2024-018. There any further discussion? Yes, sir.
No, good.
Oh, you good? Okay. Well, let me before I call for a vote. Let me make a couple comments myself. I understand everyone concerned about the traffic. I understand everyone concerned about development here. But I've been here all my life. And as some of you were sitting here speaking, I asked myself, some of you are speaking, I asked myself, had I came up here or we came up here years ago and say, hey, we don't want any development, how many of you in this room would be here? Mm-hmm. See, you complain about the traffic, then I asked one of the other things I asked myself, how many of you contribute to that same traffic problem? See, the problem is we find a piece of paradise, and then we don't want anybody else to have a piece of the paradise. Okay? I was here when I used to be able to stand out on Highway 27 and play in the middle of the road for hours at a time because traffic didn't exist. Okay? Because there wasn't no neighborhoods out here during that time. Okay? It was citrus trees, pretty much. And all of you wasn't here. But now you come here and you've added to the problem, but then you create a problem. Want to stop anybody else from developing and doing what they want to do. Now, yes, when I first got elected in 2020, yes, I stood up here, I sat up here, and I was totally against this project, and I would still have some reservations about this project when it came to me a couple of months ago. I did have to be transparent, I went and had a talk with the pastor, and I basically let him know what my concerns were. And that's after I spoke to a number of you all in your own residence in Regency Hill. I spoke to a number of you. And one of the biggest concerns you gave me at that time was the fact that you didn't like the 3-story building. I specifically asked the question, if they reduce it to 2-story, can you live with it? The answer was yes. No. The answer, I may have not spoken to everyone, but the ones I spoke to, that's what it was, okay? Now, I went and spoke, please. Now, I gave you the opportunity to speak without interrupting you. Okay? And I spoke with the pastor on that subject. That's the main reason I even went and spoke to him, because it took me a while to even go talk with him, because I wasn't going to get involved with it. I was going to let you all work it out. But after several calls and after talking to a number of you, I went and talked to him, and I basically told him I could not support the project as it stood. Okay? However, if he and they would turn around and consider redoing the project and lower it to 2 stories, I can accept it. Okay? Because I wouldn't go back on my word, because that's what a lot of you told me. Okay? All right? That's what a lot of you told me, and of course and you want to know why it was delayed. The process was delayed tonight. is because after I spoke with them, they went and pulled the project and went back and reworked the project to try to make that happen. And they did. I like the project even better now than it was when the repositioning of it even better. Okay, and I'm surprised they was able. To be honest with you, I'm surprised you was able to redo it all and keep it under the same footprint of the 8 acres. I thought you were going to have to increase your acreage, but you didn't, and it looked good. You know, I heard people say people go AOL. Yeah, people that go missing in these facilities sometime, but guess what? People go missing in your community as well. Okay? They go missing in your community as well. And all I'm saying is, you know, we come up here, we say all these things and make all these excuses for not doing things, but the same thing you're trying to make excuses for is going on with you anyway. Okay? Like I say, the last report I got on Hardwood Marsh Road is supposed to be 27. You're right. It's supposed to be 20. Hardwood Marsh Road supposed to be widened in 27. And the other comment about they started in 27. Okay, you know, Hancock. It's not 5 years unless something changed in the last week or so that I don't know about, Mr. Bulltice and everything. Hancock Extension.
Again, that's between the county and the developer, but the goal would be that it starts next year.
Yeah. Okay. Not 5 years. Okay.
On the money for it. Right here in the changes. It said that on the money for it.
One of my concerns with this project was, and I think he answered it, was the tax base. Yes, there's over 200,000. I think I heard, but I missed the jobs and everything. Can you please, sir? Can you come back and tell me about the jobs, ma'am?
I think that,
I thought you said, was it 77 jobs?
77 jobs,
Okay.
48,000 median annual salary. 10 of the jobs would be higher than the local median income.
Higher than the local median? Now, how many of these jobs are reserved for Claremont residents?
For Claremont residents, I don't
Oh, I know
know.
your staff would probably be, management and everything would probably come from somewhere, but for local residents, how many?
I don't have an indication of whether there's a particular requirement there, but it's something certainly we would be willing to make sure that local residents have an opportunity to be participating in this project, certainly with the jobs.
Can we do that, please? Yes. Make sure with some of our local residents, I'm quite sure it's some nurses
Certainly.
and everything here, you know, so.
To the degree that we can, Mr. Mayor, we'll be happy to
Yeah.
consider local residents.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Those all, well, they had a couple more, but I think they was answered and everything as I was writing down notes. I don't know what insurance, I had a note here on insurance, but I don't think that has any significance in this situation. But anyway, I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 2024-018. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember Howard.
Nay.
Councilmember Myers.
Nay.
Councilmember Pines.
Aye.
And chair vote aye as well. Motion passes 3-2. Motion passes 3-2. Good luck. Is to change it to the height to 38 feet instead of 55.
And you said, so then the next part is just to vote. But before we do that, I just ask you all, do you see all of your neighbors out here? Do you see all of these people how voting yes on this, how it's going to change their day-to-day living? Do you not give a damn about that? Excuse my language. I know y'all are better than that. This is going to affect these people. You don't have to live there. They do.
Yes, ma'am, you're right. I don't live there, but as I said earlier, I've been in Claremont many, many years, born and raised here. I remember when it was only 5,000 people in this city. It's 48,000 people here now.
Yes.
And I deal with,
Represent us.
Yes,
that every day.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
Mr.
Yes,
Murray, though,
but
or Mayor
we
Murray,
listen to
I've been here my whole life as well. Like, I was born here. I lived on Sunnyside Lake in 1971. So I'm sorry I'm not quite as old as you, but I do remember when it was Citrus Groves, and I did enjoy it. They're not asking for homes not to be built there. That's zoned for 25 homes. That would be a de minimis traffic issue. That I would support. We're asking to go to from low density to high density. That's the problem. And if you had that in your backyard, you would disagree with it. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Take your vote.
Mr.
All right.
Manzares, could you explain the traffic studies, the professional traffic studies, and the de minimis and the standards we have to apply that with?
Before you even do that, no offense, but
I've asked, I've just now
no,
asked
but I just
Please,
I
please.
understand that, but I'm just saying, have you ever driven up here during the day?
I sure have. Yes, I have.
Please.
Mayor, just
Because you
Please.
know where I go.
I have a motion and a second.
Mr. Manzares, could you please explain?
So
that?
with a rezoning application, once it's determined that, and that's what this is a rezoning to PUD, which is a zoning category under the code. So the way the law works on it is once it's been determined that it's consistent with the comp plan, and by virtue of your prior action, it is now consistent with the comp plan because the PUD could not be approved without changing the comp plan piece, which is what you did in the prior action, which is what was done. So once you determine that it's consistent with the comp plan, then the only way that what has to happen next is that a determination about whether there's some overriding issue with regard to why you would deny a rezoning. Typically, one of the issues that comes up is traffic. If you're going to make a determination that traffic is an overriding issue to not rezone it, then there has to be based on what's referred to as substantial competent evidence. Substantial competent evidence is what is offered by a competent expert, and that's what a transportation expert is brought in, and that's where the whole de minimis determination comes in.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I have a motion on the floor for approval of ordinance number 2024-019. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Councilmember Gonzalez.
aye.
Councilmember Howard.
Nay.
Councilmember Myers.
Nay.
Councilmember Pines.
Aye.
And chair vote aye as well. Motion passes 3-2. Yes, sir.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Vincent Nemick. Since we changed the agenda, I believe I could talk about something that I just have a simple question for. Why was half of my neighborhood standing out in that hallway when we couldn't have this meeting at the Arts and Rec? P&Z knew that I was bringing at least 75 people here. Okay? That falls on you, Mr. Boltice. Okay? I believe you give good in this universe will come back. After this election, I'm going to see a big change. Goodbye. I'm tired of arguing. God bless.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So I can say whatever I want for 3 minutes as long as I'm not cursing.
Yes, ma'am.
I got out of bed for this. I'm up here.
Okay.
Listening to all your corruption. Listening to you bully. You are so uneducated. You're a bully. You are running our town into the ground. You are not preserving any of the beauty of this bedroom community. And this guy and that lady over there, greasy palms. All of y'all, you have something. We know why you're doing this today. We know why you're here today, pushing your agenda through, because you two guys, thank the Lord, are gone. So don't tell me you don't take money. You helped the guy across the street from the lake, from my house. You helped him get that monster metal box on beautiful Lakeshore Drive, you helped my neighbor. He helped you out. You got helped out. You are the worst. You are not for anybody. I sat here and listened to you not give a rip about the people in their homes that they invest in their community. That for some reason people keep trusting you and voting you back in, but you are garbage. You are terrible for our community. I don't give a rip if you stood in the middle of the road. Thank God you could then, because we can't do it now, can we? We can't stand in our roads. We don't have the roads for traffic. But you know what you want to keep doing? You want to worry about the little guy, because you know what's going to happen here in 20 years? You put low-income apartments, all that crap you keep building. We're in the new Pine Hills. That's what you should put on the sign coming into Claremont. The new Pine Hills. Because you don't care about getting people that have a little bit of money in here to also spend their money and help us grow. You sit on that seat and all you do is think about ways to defend when somebody makes a point, a valid point. You got to find a way to cover it. And so do you, and so do you. I watched the last meeting. You guys scrambling to cover your butts over the budget. You know, anytime somebody brings up something, that's all y'all do. And we're not stupid to know that's why y'all pushed this agenda. So the collusion team, A, B, C, who doesn't care about the community, can get your garbage pushed. Thank God you two are out. Too bad you weren't.
Thank you.
Don't say thank you. Don't say thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anthony Grove, 1105 Sadie Ridge Road in Claremont. Mayor, City Council, and citizens of Claremont. The reign of hostility, intimidation, violence, retaliation, and incompetence is over. The people have spoken and new City Council representation has been selected. Yes, we the people run the city. For those outgoing losers, take note. The election results are clear. You did not lose by a small margin. You were thrown out. The people have spoken. No longer will incompetence or disdain for citizens be tolerated. As public servants, you will do just that, serve the people. You are not queens or emperors. Each of you are here to serve the people and deliver what the people want. As I've mentioned before, we do not care what you think. You're here to deliver what the people want. There's now a question about campaign finances. Some of you accepted donations from nonprofit organizations, a direct violation of Internal Revenue Service guidelines. Notice in the publication from the IRS that nonprofit entities are, quote, absolutely prohibited, unquote, from making campaign contributions. Accepting those contributions raises the question of incompetence or disregard for the law. Take your pick. You're either too stupid to know the law or you knew better and did it anyway. Those of you who are guilty of this behavior need to make a public apology to the citizens. At the end of my time tonight, I'll ask for that acknowledgement and apology, but no exceptions, no explanations. You did it and got caught. I'll also take an interest in watching this get resolved. I've had the opportunity to meet many of our city employees with whom I have great respect. We have top shelf police and fire. We also have people go above and beyond the city every day as they call Claremont home. Then we have a few who are hateful, incompetent, aggressive towards citizens, and woefully overpaid. We have too much administrative bloat in this city where a relatively few have created quite the little nest for themselves. Those nests are about to be knocked out of the tree. Some already have. If you believe that you can be employed by the city and be disrespectful to citizens, mock them in public meetings, and otherwise undermine their right of free expression, you're in the wrong job. We'll show you the way out. Now I will ask those of you who violated the IRS guidelines on campaign finance to offer your apology to the citizens. Again, no explanations or rebuttal, just the apology for your behavior, whichever the motivation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Tim Heslin, 458 West Lakeshore Drive. You know, I like to give the benefit of the doubt to normal citizens that have the guts to run for office and then represent my voice. Unfortunately, you guys don't. Well, I had to talk with Mr. Gonzalez on the phone probably for about an hour when Otis Taylor was running for Mr. Howard's seat. And I asked him why he was promoting Otis Taylor. And I said, his past does not look good for this city. Even though I believe in redemption, I believe people can change. But you're asking somebody that's bad with his own money to be in charge of our tax dollars. Here's what Mr. Gonzalez said to me, and here's why I know that he's a yes man. He said, well, we need somebody on the board that's going to work with us. What's that saying? He's saying we need somebody that's going to vote right in line with us. He was not only saying he was a yes man, he was saying Mr. Taylor's a yes man. He was saying Mrs. Pine's a yes man. He was saying you, Mr. Murray, you're a yes man. And you know what? When I see you guys vote how to spend our tax dollars, you're all yes man. No disrespect. Yes woman. But see, now the people have spoken. And you two are leaving. And you guys are pushing all these agendas down the throats of the citizens. Get your last, I guess, knife in their back? Yeah. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. You go up there, you're supposed to represent the people, not the developers. And you represent the developers. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Danny Page, Tuscany Ridge. Following a grueling political season, I am elated that two of you are on your way out. Michael, damn it, your ineptitude, lies, and moronic speak will no longer be heard from the dais, and for that we are all grateful. Hallelujah! Not unlike Jim Purvis, though, you too will soon be forgotten. One can only hope that you will not try to continue in politics in any capacity. You don't have the brains. Michelle, darling, my parting words for you are a little bit more complex. You see, while you too are a liar and incompetent, you are also a disgusting human being. While you like to point fingers and accuse others of stalking, it is you indulging in that behavior, sweetheart. Your weak, disgusting attempts to file false police reports against citizens, that would be me, while circumventing the proper jurisdiction and protocol to do so, are nothing short of psychotic. I believe you to be mentally unstable, reckless, emotionally disturbed, and delusional. To put it bluntly, there is something fundamentally wrong with you, and because of that, you have no business holding any position of power now or in the future, ma'am. This is, in my opinion, there is, in my opinion, no amount of meds to mitigate your issues. You should never be let back into politics, and I honestly pity the REC for having to deal with you starting in December as a member. Murray, unfortunately, you were reelected, which I find strange. Once again, the mail-in ballot numbers don't make sense, but I digress. People are looking in that PS, by the way. Moving forward, I have no doubt you will be made to look dumber than you already do. But on a more extreme level, you know why? Because you will now have 3 intelligent people around you to highlight your stupidity for the next 2 years, prepared to be embarrassed and overruled. You no longer have any power from that dais because of all your handlers will be gone. That in and of itself will be, pretty amusing and satisfying actually to watch. So perhaps I am kind of elated that you are staying in office. Can't wait to watch. In closing, I can't say I wish either of the 2 outgoing members luck in their future endeavors, because shady, conniving liars, they don't deserve such an endearment. Toodaloo, and don't let that door right there kick you in the ass.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Charlene Harrison, 4th, DeSoto Street, Claremont. Some people have said a lot of things that I thought, but make sure, is this thing up here? Sir, is this ready to go? Yes, ma'am. All right. Okay. I have been beat up, Tim. I won't call you mayor ever because you don't deserve that. I'm the one in my front yard along with my husband, which was the truth, that told you to run for a mayor. I knew you from a different person other than the one you are sitting up there tonight. You've gotten full of yourself. You got a paycheck, pay for a shiny new car. I guess that's what the paycheck's for. I don't know. And I'm going to say something because since I was 18 years old and I'm 69 now, I'm going to preface this. I have worked on civil rights issues my whole life, besides dismantling this police department that was racist and dirty and got 3 black gentlemen out of prison. You sitting there as an African American is just like your ancestors that have been bought and paid for. That's what happened tonight. That's not a racist statement. That ought to set on you really, really heavy, real heavy, because it does me. You should rise above that. Now, I know we got the other two here, Gonzalez and Michelle. I don't know whether Michelle lied, but you did in your stuff. You lied again on your campaign. And then I'm going to point this out. So for the next 2 years, you're right. You're going to sit there because I have to live with this around town with egg all over my face, helping you to get elected. I didn't have anything to do with this last time. Trust me. Everybody knows that. There it is. There is fiscally responsible balanced budget. You were in here and you voted for a budget that wasn't balanced. We've now got, it looks like, the county and state that's going to audit us because we don't have an audit that's like 3 years late. You didn't do that. Okay, we got always improving infrastructure. Tonight, you just dissed on all of them people, dumped crap on them that they got to live with for the rest of your life that you wouldn't have in your neighborhood. And you have voted for time after time after time bad projects. Next thing, open to all community feedback. You've cut people off here that were talking, that were trying to tell something. And then we got the honesty and trustworthy. I'm going to keep reminding everybody, there's your lie there, that you and your wife there in that picture, that you were the former Claremont postmaster and you got caught. You're a liar, and now you're a habitual liar. So you're going to sit there, enjoy it, you have no power, that is only ceremonial there. This is a little town. This isn't Los Angeles, and it ain't New York City. And I hope maybe you'll go look in the mirror and you'll have a conscience situation happen, because that's what has happened. Don't gloat because you think you won. I know how you won. And if I could have jumped in, you wouldn't have won.
This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address this item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and have 3 minutes.
Danny Page, Tuscany Ridge. Just another FYI to the public and those watching South Lake TV. David Wallace donated $1,000 to Michelle Pines on June 24th. He also donated to Gonzalez June 18th, $1,000. He donated $1,000 to Murray on August 1st. I'm guessing this would be for your yes vote on this particular agenda item, since this is his, lack of a better term, crap show over here.
Hey, good evening, Council Mayor.
Afternoon.
Mr. Poltheis. I just wanted to, David Wallace, 995 West Lakeshore Drive, Claremont. I just wanted to address everybody and let Danny Page know that if you ever run for anything in this city,
please address
you won't
the
get a
council.
nickel.
Thank you.
You already said his name. You said his name.
He said his name. Please. Please. He did say his name. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Does he not have to follow protocol in the meeting and give his name on?
Ma'am, go back and look
said
at the
his
tape.
name,
He
ma'am.
said his name. Okay. If you wasn't, be cool. Be cool. Please. You stated your name and address. I'm satisfied. Anyone else?
That's a threat to me, and that
Excuse me, Ms. Page, please, please.
Mayor, Mayor, if I could have staff come up and maybe explain, if I could have staff come up and explain the Victory Point.
Yes.
And Kurt can.
Yeah, I'm Matthew Gillespie. I'm the engineer record for the project. So if you guys have any questions,
Well, we wanted to address and explain for the council, the rest of the council, the portion on Victory Point.
Yeah, I can do that.
What's your name and address, please, sir?
Matthew Gillespie, Kimley Horn, civil
Okay.
engineer, 200 South Orange Avenue, Suite 600, Orlando, Florida. So the existing Victory Point, it was designed for all the downtown area, and it's a large drainage basin that has a lot of pre-designed impervious area and development that can go into it. Our development actually is part of this basin. So what's highlighted in blue here is our site, and the Victory Point's on the right. In our preliminary approvals and the rezone, Stoney actually stated that half of our development would go into Victory Point, and we are honoring that in the previous discussions. So this was the existing development that went into it, and this is the proposed. So we're keeping to what the original drainage design was for Victory Point. The only thing we're asking is for that additional half acre of impervious. That is still a very minor amount, well below the 12 acres of additional capacity that's left in the basin.
Right. Which most, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Bulltice, most of that was already calculated years ago for the Victory Point.
Well, again, when we have several basins downtown, and so what staff looks at, so like if there's a building downtown that's currently there and it gets torn down and they build something new, that's already been calculated into the basin.
Right.
So what is looked at is how much vacant land is in the basin that if it gets developed, so now it's impervious,
Right.
It would then go into that 12 acres. So what they're saying is we've got 12 acres in that basin still available. I think there was a question a couple years ago that I heard, it's full, you can't do anymore. Again, we've got 12 acres. So what they're asking for is just a small adjustment to use up half an acre that originally wasn't calculated. We still have 11 and a half, which according to staff, when they looked at it, is more than if everything gets developed in the entire downtown, if it, 100% developed.
Right.
So with all the properties that we have that's vacant, if they built it, we still have plenty.
Right.
Yes.
In that basin, it's
I think
it's
a lot
not
of
a huge area.
If I'm not mistaken, a lot of the vacant property down there was already calculated in prior.
Right.
So that still leaves us with 12 acres right now, so it would be okay.
Well, I'm comfortable with that, Mayor, so I'm going to go ahead and make the motion for item number
Hold on,
32.
we haven't had a chance, buddy.
Excuse me, go ahead.
All right, so part of my issue with this is that we're talking about, so there's zero green space here. It's all essentially all impervious. It's 85%. So there's no place for dogs, there's no place for kids, there's no place for anything except for at Victory Point. Yay. But my bigger issue is with the parking by the row house. I'd like to have further discussions with these guys about not doing that. I know there was some financial consideration for that, but paving more of the waterfront is a poor idea, especially in this location. It's kind of ancillary and it's used for other items. So I think that would be something that we probably should have further discussions about.
For the parking, paving at the row house, I kind of support that because right now, one of the problems we have at that parking is unpaved, so every time it rains, everything runs off into the lake. Okay, which can keep contaminating the lake. Paving that, we can get it redirected into the basin and run
No,
off.
you can't.
So,
Are you looking at the same diagram I am? Because it's not going to there.
yeah, well,
If I could address that
yeah.
comment. So the entire system is one big drainage system functioning as a whole. City hasn't seen our construction documents yet for it. Those are being submitted here very soon. But we have a stormwater management pond on the north side of the parking. The parking was part of the previous agreed to development agreement that was approved by all staff. And we have the stormwater management that manages the runoff from that area of the parking before it goes into Lake Mineola. We also have to provide nitrogen reductions, phosphorus reductions to keep Lake Mineola in its current environmental protected state. That is subject to review by St. John's Water Management District. We have to secure that permit before we build anything for the entire project. The design we have currently today that will be in staff's hands very soon for the full project design includes all those calculations, all that proof that we meet all state criteria for it.
And that's just fancy speak for you're putting a swell out front, which is fine, but it's better off if that stayed as a impervious or as a pervious system with the grass out there. It gets used by multiple people, including the regatta each year, and they park out there for the row house with boats and trailers. This will have a negative impact on those. So, I can either not support it or we can have further discussions about it, but that's where I'm at.
Anyone else?
If council wants, again, that was part of the original negotiation. That's what council had asked for when that was done. If you want that to come back as a item to take that out, that's perfectly acceptable. I'm sure the developer would probably agree to that.
Well, yeah, but I would like to make sure that. But I'd also like to because we're talking about taking $50,000 for the extra drainage, that's fine, but I'd like to make sure we're going to get the funding back and not just say, oh, we're taking it out. Because they're saying that there's consideration for that. I just think it's a poor idea.
For the parking.
For the parking.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say you could make a motion to have that come back if you want a full review of that. We can do that.
Well, they're here, so that's why we're having that discussion.
We're happy to remove the parking, but it's a little bit more of a conversation because we're improving the crossover we're improving the crossing of the South Lake Trail. So we're improving this Carroll Street, which runs just south of that triangle underneath the lift station. So we would have to, candidly, this was all in a prior agreement. If you want, we can not pave the row house parking, but we probably also need to think about what we're doing on the South Lake Trail.
Yeah. So to be clear, currently you do not have like a public access route really to get to the row house. This project is providing that public access route. If you want to remove the paving of the parking itself, happy to do so. We still have to pave the access to get to that parking area, though.
And
I'm just making sure we're going to get our funding back for the consideration that you guys said that we have.
Okay.
I think there was $300 and something thousand in consideration that you guys said you were doing.
Well, it's not funding.
I know it's in consideration that they're doing that, so that would be additional money that should come back to the city.
Well, it's not money that the city's paying for, correct?
Right, but they're getting benefit from us allowing them to use the basin. They're not having to pay for that kind of stuff, so that's what the consideration was there for.
Hold on a sec.
I just want to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The original.
The original.
Okay.
In replacement of that.
Okay. We're happy to have the conversation, and I think it would be great if we could do that at another hearing where we could actually talk about how logistically this would work, and instead talk today just about so that we can move forward with submitting our
I'd love
our
that too, but
permit.
I'd also like the carrot to make sure that you guys come back and.
Well, you have the
negotiate that
carrot.
out.
We still have to pay for it. I mean,
Right, I think,
we're either paying for it or we're giving you money, and I don't care which one we do. I think.
can you
this is
bring up item 10, or excuse me, item, the community, item number 5?
Yeah, under the agreement, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what Mr. Howard's saying is, item 5, you were taking credit for $325,000 to pave the parking lot. But what you're saying is that's not just the parking lot, part of that's the entryway.
Entryway.
So what we would need back is, if we took the parking lot out
Okay.
and you were just doing the entryway, and so the entryway is 50,000, then what I'm hearing Mr. Howard say is then you would need to make a contribution to the city of 275,000. Is that essentially what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying 325,000.
Well,
But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But they've got to still do the driveway, but,
That's on them.
so,
All right.
I will be perfectly honest.
Again, having a problem with my mic tonight. I'm fine with the 50,000 to cover the half acre going into the basin or into Victory Point. The paved parking was what was originally approved as part of the community benefit agreement, and I'm fine with that as well. I'm fine leaving it the way it is. So with that, I'll make a motion, community benefit agreement amendment lumberyard.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval of item number 32, community benefit agreement on the lumberyard. Any further discussion?
And that would include the comments that were made earlier regarding the couple of additional items?
Right, the intensified landscape buffer.
Yes.
Right.
Instead of the donation of them.
Right, and then the clarification of the CO after the first, or before the second building. Is that part of it as well?
Well, the CO, the delay in doing that is because you feel like it's going to be a hindrance to
Construction.
the construction of it.
To clarify, because of where the row house and the parking is, which is part of the agreement to do, the public safety of all the construction vehicles crossing in the area becomes a matter of concern. We have to build the lift station and the improvements on Carroll Street, so then we have to turn that over to open it to the public for use. Then we would have patrons in the area, and it didn't. As we developed the plans for construction versus when we did the agreement was only based on a two-dimensional plan. Now we have all the utilities and more information known. For protect public safety and people out, we really need to move that CO time period, that construction different, so we can function the site more
Pull
properly.
that site plan up so they can see what,
Yeah.
where Carol,
Yeah.
where you're talking about.
Yeah, so this is the new city lift station that we have to build. This is Carroll Street, that will all be public improvements. So we are going to basically build back to forward. So it would basically be this construction would start first and work our way backwards. So we don't really want to do that. It's going to hinder
It'll
further.
be in the way.
Everybody be in the way, and dump trucks be going by people, construction vehicles. So logically, it makes sense for us to ask to move that.
So is that part of your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Tracy, I hope you got all that.
Second.
Okay, you have a motion and a second with all the added language on item number 32, community benefit agreement amendment for the lumberyard. Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
It's a shame we're going to destroy more waterfront, but it shouldn't surprise us.
How is that destroying more waterfront when they have to go through St. John's Water Management District for all the approvals and all the verifications?
All they're putting in is a swell. Come on.
They still
Well,
have
the parking
to go
lot is
through
already
all the
there.
my gosh, you guys.
So,
That's
so,
ridiculous.
any other further discussion? Hear none. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No.
And the chair votes aye as well. Motion passes 3-2.